Hello and welcome to today's demo. In this demo, we shall go through the recently shipped technology adapter, which is GraphQL, and the third-party adapter, which is Zuora, with a use case. And the use case is order sync from Zuora to Hasura DB. Before we jump into the use case, let's review what are the features that are being offered by GraphQL adapter. It supports outbound communication, which is invoke, and it handles query, multi-query mutation, multi-mutation operation. It facilitates syntactic validation on the query against the metadata used. And it supports named and inline fragments, supports connectivity agent and the security policy. It supports API key based custom security policy and what code credentials. And let's see features that are supported by Zuora Adapt. And it supports inbound trigger for the events and the outbound invocation support for the operations create, update, delete, list, cancel, preview, and etc. It supports custom fields and the security policy supported by this adapter is client credentials, and it supports pagination on the outbound invocation. Let's now review our use case. It's order sync from Zuora to Hasura DB using Zuora and GraphQL adapters. Zuora adapter generates a real-time event when there is an order created, and that's been captured by Oracle integration and pass it to Hasura DB using GraphQL adapter. The Hasura DB here exposes the GraphQL APIs using which the GraphQL adapter pushes the data into the Hasura DB. So let's now review the integration. I've used Zuora adapter to receive events that have been generated in the Zuora application. Whenever the order has been created in the Zuora, I receive the order processed event and the information is mapped over here, and I've used GraphQL adapter here to insert the order into the Hasura DB database table. So how I'm inserting? I'm using GraphQL API to insert the data. Let's spend a couple of minutes on the GraphQL mutation. As I mentioned, GraphQL supports two type of variants. One is mutation and the query. Mutation is to create, update, delete operations, and the query is to get the data from the GraphQL. So let's understand quickly how this GraphQL query formatted. So this is the same query that you have seen it in the adapter wizard. For the simplicity, I have annotated here with the details. So the first one, the action, query or mutation. So if it is a query, you can mention it's a query. If it is a mutation, you can mention it as a mutation over here. And the next one is user defined query name. This can be anything. You can put anything of your choice. You need to declare all your variables over here. The third one is the important one, the action name or the API defined by the application. The same name which has been exposed by the GraphQL API. The next one is the input arguments defined by the application. So the left side, you can see order ID column and the variable that you have defined in the second line. So these are all the input arguments that has been defined by the application itself. And the next one is the response body. And the next one is variable values will be mapped into the mapper. So now let's go back to the integration screen. So next, and you find the summary. Now let's execute end to end. So I'm in the Zuora screen to create an order in Zuora. So I've keyed in all the information that are required. So I'll quickly go ahead and activate it. Before I activate it, let me go into the Hasura DB. And this is the database table where I will be inserting the data. Let me run the query and see if there are any orders that are available here. So I don't find any orders over here. Let me go back to Zuora and activate it. Yes, the order has been created. Let's now go back to the integration and then go to the observe screen. Let's see if there is any message that got created. You can see an event that has come from Zuora and it's already processed very quickly just now. Let us go back and then run the query in Hasura DB. That's great. See, the order number is 176. Let's go back to Zuora and then see what is the order number. It's 176. That's it from order creation. Now, let's also quickly check it out. The query of GraphQL. I created a simple integration. Query the same order that we have just created in the Hasura DB. So before we do the end-to-end testing, let's quickly see what's there in the integration. I have used REST as a trigger. This takes a order ID as an input parameter over here, and that has been mapped to the GraphQL API as an input. So if you see, the GraphQL query is a bit different. The first the attribute that we have mentioned it over here is query. If you remember, when we are using mutation, it was mutation over here, and this is the API that we have received it from the Hasura DB in order to fetch the information. And this is input variable that will be taken from the mapper. So you can see the order ID var here. I'm mapping the response that has been received from the Hasura DB to my REST response. Let's quickly run this integration. So I will take this order ID and run it. Great. I've received the response back from Hasura DB. See, if you see the order number 176 that we just created, and the account name is Acme Corp. And you can see the account name is Acme Corp. That's all from this demo. Thanks a lot.